Hello and welcome back to the Cambridge Legal English podcast. We're here for law students and lawyers around the world who want to improve their English. What can we help you with? Listening skills, pronunciation in case you've seen words written down but you're not sure how to say them, and hugely improved, I hope, legal vocabulary, because I know that's one of your favourite things, learning the legal terminology that you're going to need for work. Today's topic, I don't know. This one divided the United Kingdom, honestly. Two men commit a crime, half the country think they should put them in prison forever, and the other half of the country just don't care, they don't see the problem. Be lovely to know what your opinion is. Leave us what you think in the comments and stay with our community for more Legal English podcasts. Hello.
Hello.
We've got a crime that absolutely divided the nation today.
Yeah.
And our discussion is about, unusually for us, criminal law, but more than that, people's opinions on punishment for crimes, because that was what divided the United Kingdom about this crime. It was the punishment. So I'm interested to get your point of view on this, Rachel. Yeah. This crime, okay, it's not a murder. It's not a robbery.
Okay.
Nobody kidnapped a member of the royal family or a small child.
Good.
But the strongest reaction I've seen in a very long time. In fact, I'm going to say we've got a reaction here that we normally keep just for serial killers.
Yeah.
But no animal or human has been harmed. And later, we did an unusual thing for us. It's the first time we've done it. We asked our family and friends to use WhatsApp to send us a voice note.
We did.
About punishment.
Yeah.
And we've chosen 3 of them. And another unusual thing, we've got the judges sentencing, a fantastic judge called Christina Lambert, Judge Christina Lambert. Yeah. We've got a little bit of footage from inside the court of her sentencing this crime. Time to name the crime, I think.
Yeah.
It is criminal damage, but the reason emotions are so high and anger is so strong is it happened at a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
It did.
So that means it's a place of international cultural significance. Yeah. The only other one I can think of in the UK, Rachel, is the Tower of London.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're put in the Tower of London, and I would put these criminals in there. So I feel very strongly about crime. Now, it happened at Hadrian's Wall. What do you know about Hadrian's Wall?
So I know that it's a very big wall. It used to be about 10 feet high, I think. And I visited it with one of the schools that I used to work with.
Yeah, a lot of school children are taken there.
Yeah, it's a lovely day out.
It's of special cultural significance to our part of the world,
is, yeah.
North East England, because it's a Roman wall.
Yeah.
And it's the last line of the Roman Empire.
It's so beautiful as well. It's one of those places that if you haven't visited, you need to.
Well, you say that, but can you imagine being a Roman soldier? The size of the Roman Empire, Spain, Greece, and you're told, sorry, you're going to North East England.
Yeah. It's become like a very big symbol of pride here, though.
It has, but I can't
enduring wall.
It's beautiful, and we love it. But if you were a Roman soldier saying, Look, we got to this point and we decided we'd gone far enough.
They
Time to build a wall. And they built the wall to keep the Scots out.
did, yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Very Game of Thrones.
Now, I think there's evidence that the author of Game of Thrones, George Martin, the wall in Game of Thrones is Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah,
So it's not just a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's the wall that the Night's Watch stood on,
yeah,
which puts you in
it
Winterfell.
does.
Where does it put me?
Oh, you're 100% a wildling.
I'm a wildling. And that's what the Romans thought.
Yeah,
They saw the Scots and they thought, oh no,
yeah,
build a wall to keep them out.
yeah. Well, the Romans were so disciplined, and it must have been a total, shift in what they were used to.
What's this? And we've got Donald Trump coming tomorrow, you know. He's coming to Scotland on a private visit to play golf. He owns 2 golf courses here.
I'm going to decline to comment.
Decline to comment, but the Scots are reacting like wildlings.
Yeah, they
That's all
are.
I can say about that. Now, it's not just criminal damage to
No.
Hadrian's Wall. The more emotional aspect of this is how
Yeah.
the wall was damaged. Do you want to say it, Rachel?
So, 2 men in the middle of the night um, went in and were drunk and cut down the tree that sits in one of the gaps between the wall. And it's the only tree that's around that area. It's very significant. It was the site of so many memories for a lot of people, and it's one of the big markers of the wall. This
It
beautiful
is.
sycamore tree.
It's called the Sycamore Gap Tree.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And the
Or it was
reason
beautiful.
it was beautiful, the reason it became world famous was there was a big film in the 90s called Robin Hood, Prince of
Yeah,
Thieves. And Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman had a big discussion about life standing underneath this tree.
yeah,
I think Kevin Costner might have climbed up the tree,
yeah,
but it's not actually a gap in the wall, you know. It's the gap is because it's between 2 perfect small
yeah.
hills with this one sycamore tree
It's
growing
incredible.
in the middle, and it's in a lot of local art.
Yeah,
The northern lights behind it, the aurora borealis. People have asked their loved ones to marry
yeah,
them. People have scattered the ashes of their dead loved ones. It's of huge emotional
it really
significance.
is.
These 2 idiots decide in the middle of the night to get into the car
Hmm.
with a chainsaw. They drive when they're drunk. The nearest car park is quite a way away.
It
You've got,
really is, yeah.
got to walk to get to the tree because it's the only tree in this huge, bleak
Yeah,
landscape.
it's just this lovely landscape of hills and it's lovely. And then there's this tree that stands really proud in the middle of this wall, and it's unbelievable. It's an
Well,
unbelievable sight.
when I saw the footage on the news before they caught these 2 men, they filmed themselves.
Yeah,
Of course they did,
yeah,
on their phone, which is how the police caught them.
yeah,
But hearing the chainsaw and knowing that they're cutting down that particular tree,
yeah.
I didn't cry, but I almost cried. I felt sick.
I think the important thing for people to realise, especially about this sort of thing, because if you look at it on the outside, it's just a tree. But this tree had so much significance. It was a very big point of pride for locals. It was this enduring tree. It's been around for, I think, it's how
300,
300
300
years.
years. Yeah.
It's it's incredible. It's this landmark on a landmark. It's unbelievable to look at.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
It's a landmark on a landmark
yeah,
because it stands right next to Hadrian's
yeah.
Wall.
And people
Um,
go to see that tree. It's
they do.
like it's part of the appeal of Hadrian's Wall. They go to that point and they take usually drone footage or footage of their children playing underneath the tree. It's a huge thing.
It is.
Yeah.
But if we applied the law, the only thing these two men, could be charged with in a criminal court is criminal damage. And I think half the country wanted them to be charged with murder
Yeah.
because that's how people felt.
Yeah.
But the other half of the country, and they walk among us, shockingly, said, what is all of this? It's just a tree.
My
So
I
with
spoke to my mum about this,
your
my
mother,
mother about this, and she had no interest. It was very much like, oh well, it's a tree.
well, it divided the
It
country
really
the way
did. Yeah.
Brexit divided the country, the way COVID divided the
Yeah.
country. So this criminal case became part of our culture wars. We do have a lawyer being interviewed on the news, and she very much takes the point of view the punishment should be community service
Yeah.
because it's just a tree.
Yeah.
So let's listen to her now. Sophie Campbell Adams, who's a property solicitor in the UK, talking about punishment. Here we go.
What this boils down to is a tree. And yes, it does have that significance. It's in people's hearts and minds, as you said, but it's a tree. And I find it interesting that it has no TPO, a tree preservation order, placed on it. It wasn't there, which means that, in theory, you can do what you want with the tree. It doesn't have that protection that really significant, important trees have and should have. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have been punished, but the punishment was too severe.
So what would you have accepted as a reasonable sentence then? A year, 6 months?
Well, going to prison isn't going to bring the tree back, is it? So a community service order, giving back to the community, getting their hands dirty, planting trees to replace the sycamore would be much more suitable.
You don't think that when an individual, or in this case a pair of individuals working in tandem, essentially stick two fingers up at society and boast about what they've done. They boasted about what they'd done online the next day. They were looking for clicks. They were looking for follows. You don't think that that crime is so repellent in terms of its effect on ordinary people and on a cultural icon that it really bears more than a bit of community service, to put it right?
Yes, they are thugs. But are they being used as scapegoats here? I believe...
Scapegoats for what?
For, stopping people doing this, as Dal said, stopping people doing this in the future.
That's the principle of deterrence. That's one of the reasons we have a system of crime and punishment, to deter others from doing what the guilty have been convicted of.
But is going to prison going to solve it? How many people are sitting in prison? We're running out of space, and you're sending two thugs for cutting down a tree to prison for 4 years.
Prison is surely a far bigger deterrent than community service, which a lot of people get out of and dodge.
It depends.
So, Rachel, that's what Sophie Campbell Adams thinks. Yeah. Community service. And she says there was no tree preservation order. Now, I think that's because it was a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it didn't need one.
It's not necessarily needed, is it?
It's
kind of self-explanatory,
It's kind of self-explanatory. I don't know where they found Sophie Campbell Adams, but maybe she was the only lawyer prepared to give an opinion.
Yeah.
Because nice lawyers would say, put them in prison and throw away the key.
Yeah.
Do prisons even have keys anymore?
I imagine it's automated now. It's all fancy, technological. I couldn't tell you. I've never been.
I haven't either. So that's a good thing. Neither of us have been to prison. But a lot of people said, put these men in prison and throw away the key.
Yeah.
That's how much emotion. What's your opinion?
I think that they should have had a mixed sentence.
You have to tell us what
Yeah,
it is.
so I think they should have had prison time and have to give back to the community that they stole to, because I think prison is about rehabilitation, or it's meant to be about rehabilitation. It's not so much, but it's meant to be about reflecting about on the crime that you committed. But also I think that they stole something from the people that they took the tree away from the locals who live there, and I do think that they need to give back.
It's funny because we're talking about the crimes of murder and theft.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a tree. This is how strongly
Yeah.
people felt. So let's talk about these two men and what happened to them in court. Daniel Graham and Adam Carruthers. In the middle of the night, they took a chainsaw, they were drunk, they went to the tree, they cut it down quite expertly with this chainsaw, and they took a trophy. They took part of it away with them as a souvenir of what they'd done. Now, there's no CCTV in the area. It's very remote. They were caught because one of them filmed it on their phone and they shared it. And then they boasted to each other in WhatsApp messages, "We're on the BBC, we're going viral." And they celebrated that.
What I saw when I was looking at this case is that one of their partners had said to them, was feeding their newborn baby, and she'd sent him, I think it was either a video or had said, "You need to see this," kind of thing. And he put, "I have a video that's better than that."
We did, yes, yeah, which tells you everything you need to know.
Which is horrific. What a horrific way to say something like that.
Well, that's the kind of person who would do this, I suppose. Now, we do have some of the reactions of our friends and family.
Yeah.
And we promised we'd keep them anonymous. So the first one is the kindest person I know in the world, a friend of mine. She's not a lawyer, she's retired now, and she thinks prison is a bit too much. So let's listen to what she has to say.
I think the two lads should be heavily fined and put on community service for double the maximum amount of time and never be allowed to own a chainsaw.
Okay, interestingly, she wants to double the current amount of allowed community service. So she wants to give the judge more powers to give a longer period of community service. And she says they should never be allowed to own a chainsaw again.
I agree.
I'm not sure that's enforceable. No. You can only give people punishments that are enforceable. So I don't know how.
Wouldn't it be nice if that was the case, though?
Yeah.
I feel like it would solve so many issues. I agree with her that there needs to be an element of community service. I don't know that that should be their only punishment.
Right. Interestingly, next we've got a child.
Yes.
We asked a 9-year-old little girl, what do you think? And being a child, she doesn't mention any punishment at all. She just reflects on the crime. You can't quite hear what she says at the beginning, but she said this was rude. Yeah. That's about, how dare they? This was very rude. So let's listen to our 9-year-old contributor say what she thinks.
Rude because it's things that people loved and they've just went and chopped it. But then they were also drunk, so they didn't know what they were doing. But I think they shouldn't have chopped the tree down because it's something special and it was really nice and nice, like in a nice environment. But it's nice that somebody has put stuff around it. So
there we go. So what is amazing for me is, of all the people that we asked, it was the 9-year-old who introduced the criminal elements into this that a judge would have to consider.
It's really astute, I think. I think she talks about, the people being drunk, so they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think she thinks about it in a way that only a child can. It's
She
very
does.
clever. Very, very
So,
clever.
a little bit of law that our 9-year-old brought up.
Yeah.
To prove a crime in court, the prosecuting barrister has to prove two things. And this is an area where in England we still use Latin,
Yeah.
which is unusual. We've removed a lot of Latin. So, Rachel, I'm going to ask you for rapid fire, very quick opinions.
Oh, no.
I know I always do this to you, I'm so sorry. The two elements, and I think this is international, the prosecuting barrister has to prove, first of all, Actus Reus. In other words, the physical element of the crime.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, it's very easy to prove the physical element of the crime because they filmed themselves doing it.
Yeah.
So no problem there
Yeah.
of proving they did it. The tricky part is what we call mens rea. And mens rea is proving that they intended to do it.
Yeah. I only know these two terms, and I do know them because my sister's doing a law degree.
Right.
And it was one of the first things that they talked about.
So Ava, I've named her. Ava, our 9-year-old, she's the only person that brought up the element of mens rea. Is being drunk an excuse that you had no legal intention to do this? So I'm going to give you two real mens rea cases, Rachel.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is tell you what happened, and I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, guilty or not guilty, and we're both going to say at the same time and see if we agree. So the first one, be quiet, Sonny. That's my little dog. Be quiet. The first one, a woman is driving a car on the motorway, so she's going really fast. Her windows are open because it's a sunny day, and a wasp flies in straight to her face. So she has the natural reaction of waving her arms around, and she kills a driver coming in the opposite direction.
Right.
Not too much thinking. Guilty or not guilty of killing someone? 1, 2, 3.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
See, I thought about not guilty, but she's driving really fast.
She's on the motorway though, she's allowed to.
Yeah. No,
Okay, we don't agree on the mens rea. I think she did not have mens rea. You think she did. Here's the second one. It's true. This is a shared student house with 12 university students living in it. In the UK, it's perfectly normal for girls and boys to share a house.
Yeah.
One of the boys, who has a medical record of sleepwalking, sexually molests one of the girls while she's asleep, and his defence is no mens rea because I was sleepwalking. Guilty or not guilty? 1, 2, 3. Not guilty. We agree on that one.
Yeah.
So
it's such a shame because it goes against everything that I believe in.
Me too. But we've been fair and we've thought about it.
Yeah.
The third one, drunkenness when you chop down a tree. We know the facts. We don't need to repeat them. 1, 2, 3.
Guilty.
Guilty. Yeah, we agree on that one.
You know what I think it is? I think, you know, they were very expert at chopping down the tree. They know exactly what to do. They were sober enough to film it and sober enough to drive.
I think it's debatable whether they were sober enough to drive. They got there alive. Yeah,
Yes.
they got there alive and without accident.
I don't drive. I don't like driving, but I can't imagine how difficult it is to drive intoxicated. That doesn't seem like that would be that easy. And I think there's got to be an element of they were sober enough to know better.
Let's see later if the judge
Agrees
with both of us, actually. Yeah. Now, the final reaction from family and friends is a friend of mine from Newcastle who lives very near to Sycamore Gap, so was maybe a bit more angry and emotional than the average person. This is a lifelong friend of mine, and we've got to explain 2 pieces of vocabulary before we listen to him. The first one is the verb, this tells you what he thinks, the verb to thrash someone.
Yeah.
So it's like a beating, but it's usually, we say, in the old days, a school teacher would thrash the naughty children. Yeah. So that it means to beat, but not with your hands. It means holding something usually with an instrument. Yeah. And he uses a slightly impolite word at the end. It's not a terrible word. It's just very informal.
Yeah.
Knackered.
It's a very my area type of thing. I don't live too far from Newcastle, and I say this to you all of the time.
You do use this word.
It's very northern.
I wouldn't have said it in front of my mother because my mother was a little bit posh. I would have said I'm exhausted.
Yeah, no.
I'm exhausted. So I might say to you, oh, Rachel, I'm knackered today. But I wouldn't say it to anyone important, including my mother. I'd say exhausted. So let's listen to my friend who references the movie with Kevin Costner. Let's go.
I think the 2 gentlemen from Sycamore Gap should be made to plant a tree every 100 yards along the entire length of the 75 miles of Hadrian's Wall. Then, because the tree was made famous worldwide because of the movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I think they should then go into a room on a weekly basis and be thrashed with twigs and branches by Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman until both Kevin and Morgan get absolutely knackered. Thank you. Goodbye.
I think it's a little bit hyperbole, but I love it. I think I really appreciate the northern solidarity to Hadrian's Wall and the
you can kind of hear the anger, and it's a year after. It's a year after the event. I think it's time to hear from Judge Christina Lambert.
I think it is as well.
In the sentencing. She sentences at the very beginning of this little clip, and in case you miss it, both men were given 4 years and 3 months in prison. Judge Christina, let's go.
On count 1, 4 years and 3 months imprisonment. On count 2, 6 months imprisonment, but to be served concurrently. Mr. Carruthers, your account that you had had so much to drink that you had no memory of what you did that night is not plausible. The tree felling demonstrated skill. It required deliberate and coordinated actions by you. Nor, Mr. Graham, do I accept that you just went along with your co-defendant. You filmed the whole event. You took photos of the stump and chainsaw and the boot of the Range Rover. The next day you appeared to revel in the coverage of your actions in the media. This is not the behaviour of someone who was shocked and horrified by something that had happened. For those who live in Northumberland, or who love this county, the tree had become a landmark, a symbol of the beauty of its untamed landscape, featuring prominently in local art and local tourism. For others, the tree had become a place of special personal significance, where marriages were proposed and personal tributes to loved ones were left.
So there we are. This is why it divided the nation.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is people get less than 4 years and 3 months for crimes that people
Are more
consider
severe.
much more severe. You can harm a person quite badly and not get 4 years and 3 months. This was at the judge's discretion. She could have given up to 10 years for criminal damage.
Mm-hmm.
So she gave about half of that. But let me just say, these men could have pleaded guilty in court and got a discount on that 4 years and 3 months. They were absolute idiots who went on insisting they were innocent.
Yeah.
So that 4 years and 3 months is partly their own fault.
I think that on the outside, this looks like a very simple, oh, somebody got too drunk and they went and they chopped down a tree. But the motives that they had to be, stars for about this, they made a big thing of promoting it and
Yes.
putting it on the internet. And the internet is forever. They must have known that would have some form of consequence. And I think that the case feels very secular because it's, it's something that's happened, and it's a monument that maybe everywhere doesn't know about.
Well, I would just like to speak about deterrent as well.
Yes.
Now, the word deterrent means this punishment exists to stop you from doing something.
Yeah.
And I think there's a good argument here that had these men not gone to prison, we might have got a lot of copycat, stupid, senseless acts for clicks.
Yeah.
So this judge really said to the public, if you do something like this for internet fame, or you boast online about this awful thing you've done, you will go to prison for quite a long time. And I think that element of deterrent is massively important here.
I do also. And I think that if you applied it to a different monument, like, say, for example, the Tower of London, it's them going in and, being belligerent and, cutting through all of the displays and being...
Well, the king's crown is in the Tower.
Exactly. So it's that equivalent.
It is.
I know it doesn't... I can understand that people maybe don't see that initially, but when you grow up in England and you know of the Hadrian's Wall, it's a big point of pride for locals. It's a massive monument that we cherish.
Shall we end on some good news?
Yes.
The good news is I was listening to a tree surgeon this morning because we are now 1 year on from the cutting of the tree. We've just had the trial and the sentencing. So this tree surgeon said, look, this tree is sycamore. It's almost impossible to kill a sycamore.
Yeah.
40% of the tree's energy and strength is underground. And we already have new shoots of growth coming out of the tree. So it's not gone. It's going to be asleep or be a child again for a period of time.
Yeah.
But an amazing thing is, he said, a sycamore lives for 400 years, and this tree was already 300 years old. So in a weird way, in cutting it down, they've given it a new 400-year period of life.
And that is not condoning that behaviour.
No, it
is an unintentional positive of the whole thing.
Yeah, it is. It's an unintended consequence. Yeah. So there is positivity at the end of it. And what they are asking the Sycamore Gap carers who are looking after the tree is that anyone who hears about Sycamore Gap plants a tree. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you care about this story, please plant a tree. And I think, can you hear Sammy?
She agrees.
She agrees. She agrees strongly. So that's the end of the story of the crime that divided the UK. Shall we go now, Rachel? Because I'm knackered.
I am also knackered. Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Bye.